The eyes that warn of death asterisk. The spaceport was full of noise and movement. Ships came and went. Travelers hurried in every direction, selling, shouting, arguing, laughing. But in the center of all this chaos stood a girl who didn't move. She was not human. Her skin was pale like snow with a faint shimmer. Her hair flowed like silver threads in the air. But it wasn't her beauty that made people stay away. It was her eyes. They were bright blue, not normal blue, but glowing like neon fire. People whispered about her everywhere. They said her eyes glowed only when danger was near, and every time they did, something terrible happened. 3 weeks ago, a merchant ship exploded on Dock 9 right after she walked past it. 1 week later, a security officer fell dead with no reason, just moments after she looked at him. People feared her. They thought she brought death, so now no one went near her. She stood alone near the station wall, not speaking, not blinking. Her glowing blue eyes watched everything. Silently, coldly. Her name was Kale, but no one ever asked her that. They only called her names Monster Death Girl, Curse Bringer. Kale didn't care anymore. She had stopped crying long ago, but her eyes still glowed, and sometimes even she didn't know why. They were built into her, not by nature, but by science. Her ancestors were weapons created to feel danger before it happened. The glow was a warning, a shield. But today something felt strange. Her eyes were glowing again, softly, not burning, not flaring. Just glowing, like they were unsure of something or someone. She didn't sense any bombs or weapons. No one was shouting or drawing guns. So why were her eyes glowing? Then she saw him, a young man walking through the crowd, wearing greasy mechanic overalls and holding a toolkit. He was tall for a human, with dark hair, messy and unwashed. He looked tired and distracted, probably fixing ships all day, but as he walked near her, the glow in Kale's eyes shifted. It flickered like a flame caught in wind. Her breath caught in her throat. Her heart beat faster. Was he the danger? She narrowed her eyes, focused on him. He looked up and stopped, seeing her there staring at him. He didn't step back. He didn't scream or run away like the others. Instead, he smiled and said, "Hey, you all right?" Kale didn't answer. She just stared. The glow in her eyes pulsed again, softer now, confused. He waited a second, then shrugged and walked past her. The moment he did, Kale felt something odd. Her glow dimmed like her body couldn't decide what to feel. It had never happened before. Her eyes always knew. They always glowed when something bad was coming, but with him, it was like her senses were mixed. She turned and slowly followed him at a distance. He entered a side gate marked for station workers and disappeared inside. Kale leaned against the cold wall, trying to breathe, her eyes still glowing faintly. Who was that human? Why did her glow react to him? And why didn't he fear her? Suddenly, a group of travelers rushed past her. A child tripped and fell right in front of her. The mother screamed and pulled him back quickly, glaring at Kale like she had cursed the boy just by standing there. The fear in their eyes hurt more than any weapon could. She turned away and walked toward the gate where the human had gone. Her glow flickered again, not stronger, but more curious. Something strange had happened today. For the first time, her glow didn't warn her of death, it warned her of change, and Kale didn't know if that scared her more. Would he be the first person her glow couldn't understand, or was he something else entirely? She didn't have answers, but she needed to know, so she stepped through the workers' gate, following the human mechanic into the unknown, not knowing that this small moment would change the rest of her life forever. Asterisk. The human who didn't flinch. Asterisk. Kale moved carefully through the narrow halls behind the worker gate. Her bare feet made no sound. Her glowing blue eyes lit the dark path ahead. But even in silence, she felt uncertain. She didn't understand what was happening. Her eyes never lied before. They always showed her the truth of danger. They always protected her. But now they flickered in confusion, soft pulses of blue, like they were unsure of the human she had just seen. She found him again in the maintenance bay, crouched beside a broken hover cart. Tools lay scattered around him, and sparks flew as he worked. His name tag read J-Scale stood at the edge of the shadows, watching. His movements smooth, confident, calm. The glow in her eyes stayed steady, but not bright. Not a warning, this was something else. Then Jace turned his head and spotted her watching you. Again he said, like he had been expecting her, no fear in his voice. No panic in his face, just mild surprise. Kale stepped forward slowly. Her glow brightened for a moment, then settled again. "What do you want?" Jace asked, standing up and wiping his hands on his pants. "You following me or something?" Kale hesitated. She didn't know what to say. No one ever spoke to her like this. No one stood this close to her and remained calm. "Your eyes," he said, nodding toward them. "They glow." "That normal?" She gave a small nod and replied softly, "They glow when danger is near." Jace raised an eyebrow. "Then why are they glowing now?" Kale blinked. She didn't have an answer, and that scared her more than anything. He chuckled quietly. "That's a bit creepy, you know. But I guess that's not your fault, right?" Kale looked down. She expected him to walk away now, like everyone else did when they saw her for more than a minute, but he didn't. Instead, Jace pointed to a crate and said, "Sit if you want. Just don't touch anything that hums." She sat slowly, watching him work again. He didn't ask questions. He didn't look scared. He didn't even seem curious in a dangerous way. He was just himself. After a few minutes, Kale asked softly, "Why didn't you run?" Jace repeated, "From what? My glow. It means danger. I'm not safe." He stopped working and looked up at her again. "If I ran from every glowing person, I'd never get any work done around here. People glow in all kinds of ways. Not always bad." Kale tilted her head, confused. "You believe that?" He smiled a little. "Sure. I mean, you're sitting there quiet as a ghost. If you were here to kill me, you'd have done it already, right?" She didn't respond. Suddenly, the room shook slightly, and a loud alarm buzzed above them, warning emergency in Cargo Bay 3. Kale jumped to her feet. Her eyes glowed brighter, now pulsing fast. "Real danger this time." Jace grabbed his toolkit and said, "Great, just what I needed today." Another broken engine ran past her, heading toward the emergency without hesitation. "Wait," Kale said, following quickly. "It's not the engine. It's not a machine. What is it then?" he asked over his shoulder. "People. Guns. Something bad is about to happen. I can feel it." Just didn't stop. Not until they reached the cargo bay doors. They opened with a hiss, revealing two armed men arguing with a station guard. One man shoved the guard down. The other raised a weapon. Kale's glow exploded into brilliant blue light. Jace grabbed her arm and pulled her back. "Stay here," he said quickly before running into the room, shouting, "Hey, put that thing down. You're making it worse." Kale gasped. He was running toward danger. Her eyes glowed at full power now. But when he placed himself between the armed man and the fallen guard, something impossible happened. Her glow flickered once, and then dimmed. The gun lowered. The man hesitated, staring at Jace like he couldn't see clearly. The moment froze. Kale stepped forward, feeling her heart race. Why wasn't her glow reacting? The danger was real, but the glow vanished. The two armed men backed off, confused by Jace's bold move and the sudden appearance of security drones from above. The situation calmed fast. The guards stood up, thanked Jace, and the men were taken away. Kale stood stunned, her glow almost gone. Jace returned, wiping sweat from his brow. That was too close. She looked at him closely. "You stopped my glow." He frowned. "What, my glow? It went away when you stood there with me." "No one has ever done that." Jace looked unsure. "Maybe you're just tired. Maybe I'm the safe one." Kale stared into his eyes. There was no fear, no lies. Maybe, just maybe, he was right. But deep inside, something told her this was more than just safety. This human was different, and her glow knew it before she did. "She's being hunted." Kale sat alone on the edge of the lower platform near Dock 14. Her legs hung over the ledge, swaying gently in the cold air below. Her glowing blue eyes were dim now, but never fully dark. They hadn't stopped flickering since she met the human mechanic named Jasesh. Didn't understand what was happening. Her eyes were supposed to warn her about danger. They were her only guide in a galaxy full of threats. But now they pulsed differently. They glowed around him, but not in fear, not in warning. It felt like confusion or something stranger. Pulled the hood of her faded cloak tighter around her silver hair as loud footsteps echoed nearby. She turned her head slowly. Her glow spiked slightly. 3 figures entered the platform. Each wore dark armor and long brown coats that swayed with every step. Their faces were hidden behind black visors, and one of them held A datapad scanning the air. Her eyes widened slightly when the scanner beeped and the lid figure nodded sharply. She's here. Kale's breath caught. Her eyes glowed full blue bounty hunters. Her body moved before her thoughts could form. She dropped silently from the ledge, landing on a maintenance pipe that led to the underside of the dock. Then she crawled through the shadows like mist moving through steel. They were here for her. Of course they were. You was rare. Her people were nearly extinct. The ones still alive were hidden or locked away for study. Her genes could sell for millions. Her eyes could detect ambushes, assassins, explosives, everything criminals wanted. She was worth more than a starship. She reached a supply corridor and darted through the storage zone. Blinking lights glowed along the walls, and her glowing blue eyes reflected in the polished steel. She turned a corner fast and froze. 2 more bounty hunters stood at the end of the hallway. One raised a blaster. There she is. She turned and ran, but blaster fire followed. The walls sparked and crates exploded. She dove behind a loader unit, gasping. Her heart raced. Her eyes burned with a glow so bright it lit the whole tunnel blue. She couldn't escape like this. Then someone grabbed her hand. Kale almost screamed until she looked up and saw familiar dark eyes. Jason didn't ask questions. He just pulled her into a service shaft and slammed the door behind them. He pressed a code and locked it. You again, he said breathlessly. You sure know how to bring trouble. Kale panted, trying to speak, but words didn't come. Right away, he was here again, saving her again. Why are you here? I was fixing a coolant pipe when I heard the shooting, he said. I figured only one person I know runs into fire instead of away from. I looked at her glowing eyes and added, or causes ID didn't start this, she said quickly. They're hunting me for what I am. Just didn't flinch. What are you then? Kale hesitated. For the first time she wanted to tell someone. The truth burned in her chest. My race was created long ago for war, she said softly. Weapons disguised as people. We can sense danger before it happens. Our eyes glow to warn others. Jace nodded slowly. So you're like a living alarm system. I was a child when they tried to capture me. I escaped. I've been running ever since, and now they found you. Yes, he looked at her glow, then at the steel wall around them. You said they glow for danger, right? But they glowed when you saw me. Don't know why, she whispered. You're not danger, but you're different. Suddenly the door shook hard. Metal creaked. Someone was trying to break in. Just looked around quickly. This shaft leads to the lower crawl space, he said. Come on. They moved fast, crawling through the tight tunnel until they emerged behind a waste compressor. The roar of engines filled the air, and cargo lights blinked overhead. Just led her toward a freight elevator and pressed the button. Kale looked behind them. Her eyes glowed brighter. They getting closer, he nodded. I figured as much. The elevator arrived. They stepped inside and dropped 3 levels. Kale leaned against the wall, breathing heavily. Her glow dimmed slowly. You should have left me, she said quietly. No, come after you now. Too late for that, he replied with a small smile. Besides, you look like you needed a friend. Her eyes shimmered, not just with glow, but something softer. No one had ever called her that before. The elevator stopped. They stepped into a dark maintenance hallway, lit only by Kale's blue glow. She looked at Jace and whispered, Thank you. He shook his head. Not yet. We're not safe. But in that moment, her glow flickered oddly. A new pulse, like a quiet signal inside her chest. It didn't mean danger. It meant she wasn't alone anymore. And for someone who had only known running, hiding, surviving, that feeling was more powerful than any weapon. The secret of her glow. The maintenance hallway was quiet, except for the soft hum of power lines hidden behind the walls. Kale and Jace moved slowly, their feet careful not to make noise. Her glowing blue eyes cast faint light ahead of them, painting the corridor in shades of icy blue. But something about her glow felt different now, slower, softer, like a heartbeat that was no longer panicking. Jace glanced at her again and whispered, You still glowing? Kale nodded quietly. Yes, but not like before. Still danger? No, she said, staring at her reflection in the wall steel surface. It's not danger. Not fear. It's something else. They stopped beside a sealed door. Jace typed in a long code, and the lock released with a hiss. The room inside was dark and filled with old ship parts, broken monitors, and dusty chairs. He closed the door behind them and locked it again. This was his hideaway, one of the few places on the station where he could rest without being found. Kale sat down in the corner, folding her knees to her chest. The glow in her eyes pulsed once, like a sigh. Jace dropped into a seat across from her, resting his head against the wall. "All right, talk to me." She looked up slowly. "About what?" "About you, about this glow. And why you look like you're scared of it now." Kale stayed quiet for a long moment. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, she said, "You shouldn't trust me." Jace raised an eyebrow. "Too late. My people were built to sense threats. We were made in labs, grown, trained, sharpened. I was born with the glow. It's not magic. It's something deeper. My body reacts to emotional energy, to danger, even to thought patterns. If someone near me plans to kill, my eyes burn bright. If a bomb is nearby, I feel it before the trigger." He nodded slowly, processing her words. "But with you," she continued, "my glow doesn't follow the rules. It pulses randomly. Or not at all. When you touched me, it stopped entirely. No danger, no signal, nothing. My whole body went quiet. That a bad thing?" Jace asked. Kale looked away. "It's confusing. It means either you're a void I can't sense, or something inside me is changing." Jace leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "You ever had that happen before, around someone else?" She shook her head. "Never." "So maybe it's not bad," he said. "Maybe you don't need to glow around me because I'm not danger." Kale stared at him. "But even when I feel safe with others, my glow still works. You're the only one who silences it." Jace looked thoughtful. "Maybe you've been running so long, your glow forgot what calm feels like." She gave a soft laugh, not bitter, just tired. "I don't even know what calm is." Outside the door, the hallway remained still. The bounty hunters hadn't reached this far. Not yet. Jace stood up and walked over to a small storage case. He opened it and took out a wrapped energy bar, tossing it to her. "Eat something." Kale caught it carefully, unwrapped it, and took a small bite. The taste was strange but sweet. She hadn't eaten in 2 days. "You ever had friends before?" Jace asked, sitting back down. She shook her head. "They don't get close. The glow scares them. I'm still here." "That's what worries me," she said softly. He tilted his head. "Why?" "Because if they realize you cancel my glow, they'll use you to control me. They'll use you as bait, as a weapon." Jace frowned. "Let them try. I don't back down easy." Her eyes glowed again, not bright but deep. Like the glow was responding to his words. "Why do you help me?" she asked. "Because I've seen too many people walk past those who need help. It's not that hard to care, you know." Kale looked down at the floor. "I don't know how to care." "You don't have to know," he said. "You just feel it." The words hung in the air like something sacred. She didn't reply. But inside her chest, something shifted. Like a lock being picked for the first time. Then the lights flickered. Jace stood fast. "They're scanning for power leaks. They're getting close." Kale's glow brightened slightly. Danger, now not panic, but warning. He moved to the vent shaft and opened the panel. "We've got one more route, but we'll have to move quick." She stood beside him, her eyes glowing like a protective flame. "Your glow," he said, staring at it. "It's not a curse, you know." Kale paused. "Then what is it?" He smiled. "It's your soul trying to speak, and I think it's saying you're more than just a weapon." Kale didn't answer. She crawled into the shaft, her eyes lighting the dark path ahead, but her glow didn't burn for danger this time. It shimmered for something else. Something closer to hope. The trap set with love *. Cold wind whistled across the surface of the mining moon as Kale sat alone beneath a broken cum tower. Her cloak barely kept out the chill. Her silver hair tangled with dust and wind, and her glowing eyes flickered like fading stars. She had been hiding here for 2 nights. No one came this far out. No one but machines and silence. The station behind her was miles away now. She had left Jace without a word. Just disappeared. It was better this way. She couldn't risk his life. The bounty hunters had seen them together. If she stayed near him, they would find him. Use him, hurt him. Her glow pulsed weakly, not danger. Not warning, just tired. She stared up at the empty sky. The stars were distant, uncaring. Somewhere out there was the world where she was born. A lab. A cage. She barely remembered it now. Just machines and lights and voices calling her. Subject 19. She was never meant to feel. Only to detect, warn, survive. So why did her heart ache like this? She closed her eyes, wishing the blue would fade. Wishing she could forget his voice. Then, the wind shifted. A soft sound crackled through the broken cum tower beside her. It buzzed once, then came to life. Static danced in the air. Then his voice. Kale, if you're hearing this, I don't know where you are, but I hope you're safe. Her eyes flew open. The glow sparked, uncertain. I'm not mad, just wish you'd told me why you left. She stood slowly, her eyes fixed on the speaker, her breath caught in her throat. Things aren't the same without you. I still checked that vent shaft, hoping you'll be there. A long pause followed. The static buzzed again. I found something. Something you might want to hear. Your glow, your gift. It doesn't just warn. I think it responds to emotion. Not just danger, but connection. Maybe even love. Kale stepped closer, her hands trembling. The glow in her eyes was bright now, but soft, golden blue. She had never seen this color before. I don't care what you were made for, his voice continued. You're not a weapon. You're a person. If you come back, I'll be here. The message ended. Silence fell again. But her eyes kept glowing. Then, the trap was sprung. A high-pitched whine echoed through the rocks. Kale's glow spiked in warning. Too late. A net of energy snapped down from above, pinning her in place. She hit the ground hard, stunned. A figure stepped out from the shadows, one of the bounty hunters. Well, that was easy, he said with a smirk. Didn't think the human's voice would drag you out this fast. Another stepped beside him, holding the control pad. She's glowing. Good. Means she's the real one. Kale struggled, but the net tightened with every move. You used him, she whispered, rage growing in her chest. The hunter grinned. Of course we did. You like him, don't you? Could see it in the way you looked at him. Kale's eyes burned blue, but it wasn't enough. Not here. Not alone. The hunter tapped his earpiece. Send the shuttle. We've got the girl. Sudden crash interrupted his words. A metal panel exploded behind them. Smoke filled the air. From the shadows, someone leapt forward. It was Jace. He moved fast, swinging a repulsor tool like a club, knocking the nearest hunter to the ground. The second raised his weapon, but Kale's eyes flared like fire, and the weapon sparked, short-circuited. By her emotional surge, Jace dropped beside her, slicing through the energy net with a cutter tool. You came, she breathed. I told you, he said. I don't leave people behind. She stared at him, tears forming behind her glowing eyes. They tricked me, using your voice. I know, he said, helping her up. But now I'm really here. And we're not letting them take you. The other hunter groaned, reaching for his gun. Kale turned, eyes blazing. A wave of psychic energy burst from her body, knocking him out cold. The rock shook. Her glow lit up the whole valley. When it faded, only silence remained. Kale's knees gave out, and Jace caught her gently. You okay? He asked, brushing her hair from her face. I don't understand, she whispered. I wasn't glowing like this before. This color. It's never happened. Jace placed his hand over her chest, above her heart. Maybe your glow isn't about fear anymore, he said. Maybe it's reacting to something new. She looked into his eyes. What? He smiled. Love. Kale's eyes glowed once more, but this time not for danger. Not for confusion. They glowed because for the first time in her life, she believed him. Glow of the heart. The wind carried silence now heavy and still across the cracked surface of the mining moon. Kale leaned against Jace's side as they walked slowly toward his hidden repair skiff. The battle behind them was over. The bounty hunters lay unconscious, their weapons fried by the wave of energy Kale had unleashed. Her body ached. Her chest felt tight. But her eyes still glowed, not the harsh electric blue of warning, but a gentler light, deep and golden beneath the surface. They said nothing for a while. Jace guided her carefully down the slope, steadying her when she stumbled. You don't have to hold me, she whispered weakly. I know, he replied. But I want to. That simple sentence made her heart feel strange again, tight but warm, like a memory she'd never had before. Her glow pulsed in response. It shimmered softly, not out of fear, but something else entirely. When they reached the skiff, Jace opened the hatch and helped her into the passenger seat. The small ship was patched together with mismatched parts and humming with old but loyal engines. As he started it up, Kale leaned her head back and stared at the ceiling, breathing slow and deep. I still don't understand it, she said after a moment. My glow has always meant danger. It warned me, protected me. But now it changes for you. It dims when you're near. Then it shines gold when you speak. It's like it listens to you more than me. Jace looked over at her and gave a soft chuckle. Maybe your glow's smarter than you think. Kale closed her eyes. Maybe it knows something I don't. The skiff lifted off with a soft hum and turned toward the station in the distance. Below them, the landscape shrank into shadow. Behind them, the trap had failed. But Kale's thoughts stayed with the way her glow had reacted, not to weapons, not to escape, but to his voice. Do you think I'm broken? She asked quietly. No, Jace answered without hesitation. I think you've been misused. Treated like a tool, not a person. Kale turned her head to look at him. But I was made to be a tool, a living sensor. He met her eyes calmly. That might be how you started. But people aren't just what they're made for. They're who they choose to be. She looked down at her hands. They had always felt like weapons. Now they just felt tired, human. I've never glowed like this, she said again, watching the golden flicker in her reflection on the glass. It feels warm, like it's not just for warning me anymore. Maybe it's not, Jace said. Maybe it's responding to something new. She looked at him again. Like what? He hesitated a second, then gave her a soft smile. Connection, care, trust. Kale's eyes shimmered brighter at those words. The glow spread across her face, soft and golden blue, not blinding. Not defensive, just alive. She turned away, her voice quiet. I didn't think I was allowed to feel those things. Who told you that? My creators, she whispered. The people who raised me. They said feelings would make the glow unstable, that emotions are threats to control. Jace's hands tightened slightly on the controls. Then they lied. She didn't answer, but the silence between them wasn't empty anymore. It was full of unspoken thoughts, full of new warmth. When they landed behind the hidden hangar near the station, Jace helped her out gently. She stumbled once, and he caught her arm. You okay? He asked. Kale nodded. Just heavy. The energy I released earlier. It's never been that strong before. You pushed it because you had to. That's what people do for someone they care about. Her gaze lowered. I didn't know I could. Jace reached out, brushing a loose strand of silver hair from her cheek. You're learning. And glowing. And saving lives. That's pretty amazing, Kale. She stared at him, and her glow slowly brightened into the richest gold it ever been. No fear, no pain, just light. Then something moved behind them. Kale spun, but Jace gently touched her hand. It's all right, just station guards. They won't hurt you. She blinked. Her glow didn't rise. It stayed calm. She realized something then. Her body didn't react to the world the same way anymore. The glow didn't just serve survival. It responded to meaning. Her glow now listened to her heart, not just her instincts. They walked back into the station, side by side, not hiding anymore. People turned to stare, whispers rose, but Kale didn't care. Jace was beside her, and her eyes were glowing not for danger, but for him. No more warnings. Just light. Kale stood on the upper platform of the station, her silver hair flowing gently in the artificial wind from the air filters. Below, starships came and went. The hangars buzzed with life engineers shouting, metal grinding, fuel lines hissing. But none of it touched the quiet that surrounded her now. The chaos of the past days felt far away, like a storm that had passed and left her. Standing in strange calm, her eyes glowed, not blue, not gold, but something between. A soft shimmer that pulsed like a heartbeat. It didn't flare. It didn't scream. It simply lived. Behind her, Jace approached, his steps easy, his jacket half-zipped and stained with grease as usual. He stopped beside her, leaned against the rail, and looked out at the stars. They're still watching you, you know, he said. Kale nodded. She could feel the eyes from the guards, the curious glances from nearby crew, the quiet whispers that followed her wherever she walked. But now, her glow didn't react. No threat, no fear. They don't know what to make of you, Jace continued. Some think you're a weapon. Others think you're cursed. A few think you're dangerous. She turned to him. And you? He met her gaze. I think you're becoming free. Kale was quiet for a long moment. Then she asked, do you remember the first time my glow stopped? Yeah, when I pulled you behind that wall. You looked like you couldn't believe it. I couldn't, she said softly. It was the first time I ever felt invisible to danger. And the second time was when you touched my face. My glow listened to you more than to the threat. Jace gave her a crook smile. Guess I'm persuasive. No, she said, smiling just a little. You're something else. You don't cancel danger. You change it. When you're near, it stops being important. Jace looked at her thoughtfully. That's because you're not running anymore. She blinked. I still don't know how to stop. Yes, you do, he said. You already did. He pulled something from his jacket pocket. A tiny ring made of twisted metal, simple but elegant. It shimmered faintly under the station's lights. Kale stared at it. What's that? He scratched his head. It's not a real ring. It's a piece of the ship you overloaded back on the moon. You melted half its systems, I thought. Maybe it meant something. She took it gently, feeling the warmth in the metal. I don't know what people do with gifts like this, she said, holding it delicately between her fingers. They accept them, Jace said. And maybe they stay. Kale looked at him sharply. Stay? I have a new ship, he said. Old cargo runner. Needs repairs every few days. It's not much, but it moves. And it needs a navigator. Someone who can see danger before it happens, someone who glows. Kale looked back at the stars. Her glow pulsed softly again. You want me to come with you? I don't want to leave without you. She looked down at her hand. The ring sat against her palm, humming faintly. Her glow answered soft and bright, and full of something she had no name for. Then she smiled. I'm not a weapon anymore. No, Jace said, his voice steady. You're Kale, and you're enough. She turned toward him. And if the hunters come again, then let them. We'll deal with them together. Her glow didn't flare. It shimmered like a star in calm space. She nodded once. Okay, I'll come. He smiled. Good. I was starting to get tired of talking to myself in that ship. They walked together through the station, this time not hiding, not sneaking through vents or crawling in ducts. Her glow lit the halls, and people stepped aside, not out of fear, but quiet respect. When they reached the docking bay, Kale paused at the ramp of the small, battered ship. She turned and looked at the station one last time. "Do you think it will ever stop?" she asked. "The way people look at me?" "Maybe not," Jay said. "But they'll learn. When they see how you shine." Kale looked at him. "Not shine. Glow." He laughed. "Right, glow." As the ship took off, Kale sat in the co-pilot seat, fingers tracing the edge of the old ring. Her glow remained soft and constant, reacting to nothing outside, only to the steady beat inside her chest. She was no longer a warning. She was no longer a sensor. She was no longer a weapon. She was simply light, and for the first time in her life, she was exactly where she was meant to be.